Hey everyone, summer's coming to an end here, and we wanted to take a little bit of time today to recap all the tools and gear and safety equipment that we're using for land management out here in Ohio. We get a lot of people that ask us what tools we're running, and we are constantly evolving, constantly changing. I'd say like every job, it feels like we're making little tweaks, adjusting our setup, not just with what we're using, but also how we're maintaining it. And that equipment really has to be maintained to operate at peak level. We wanted to put together this video that showcases all these different tools, how to use them safely, ultimately to get you more productive and more efficient when you're out there working, keeping you just safer and overall having a better time and making a bigger impact on the landscape. When you're out there maintaining land, inevitably you're gonna have to deal with cutting some type of trees and brush. And we do this professionally, so we have a lot of different gear because there's always a right tool for the job. But some of these tools here you can use for a lot of different situations. That's what we want to kind of run you through. First and foremost, don't pick up any of these tools without a quality chainsaw helmet. I personally really like to have the visor. Some guys run safety glasses. I have a lot of branches and stuff, and I feel this makes me feel a lot safer, and I can't tell you how many things smack into this, so I run that. You got to have hearing protection as well. This stuff, you can't just run power tools all day up close without getting hearing damage. In addition to the helmet, this is another thing, do not run chainsaws without. This is a good pair of chainsaw chaps, and make sure they're in good working order. These ones are right about the end of their life. When they start getting nicks and scratches, just buy a nice fresh pair. They only typically last a couple years if you're wearing them all the time. You might be able to buy a little higher end pair. This is made by Husqvarna. Forestry Suppliers makes a really nice one that's pretty affordable. So within these chaps, two things I make sure I always have. One, wedge. If you have a tree that wants to lean on you and pinch your bar, you can use this. Make sure you're paying attention. Slide that wedge in there, keeps you out of trouble. The other thing you got to have is your simple chainsaw wrench. It's got your wrench on there so you can service your saw in the field, tighten your chain. Those are constant tools you got to have. All right, so we're going to take you through some of these saws. The first one here, this is a Husqvarna. This is a 535i XP. It's one of their electric pro saws. Couple key points on this thing. One, it's designed to be operated one hand. This is a great arborist saw. Don't do this if you don't have a little bit of experience, and you got to be able to physically hold that weight. This saw comes with a 14-inch bar. I put a 12-inch bar. It takes some of the front weight out, balances out really nicely with the battery, so you can just one-handed hold this thing. So that'll free up your other hand. A lot of times we'll run a squirt bottle. So you can walk through, cut small invasive species, and then apply a squirt of juice if you need to terminate some kind of invasive species. So these run off of simple batteries. We have a handful of these. You can recharge them. The battery life is really very good. There's one little feature. It's got this eco mode. We find that it actually saves your battery, makes it run a lot longer, but these work pretty good. They can do up to light trail work if you got some stuff you're clearing. Really good for brush, limbing up larger trees that are on the ground. These lighter saws, they let you just go much longer without getting fatigued.
So sometimes you're cutting and you need the saw to keep running all day and you need just a little bit more power. That's where your gas chainsaws come in. So here's one of Larry's. This is a 543 XP. It's a Husqvarna as well. I think he's got a 16-inch bar on there. And this would be a good thing for like trail clearing, heavy invasive control. So sometimes we get into situations where you got bush honeysuckle that each stem is this big around and you're almost cutting trees. So having something like that that's still light enough to get down there and work, obviously two-handed with the bigger gas saw like that, that can be really useful. So sometimes you're cutting and the trees just get a little bit bigger and you might want to throw a larger bar on. So here is a Husky 440. It's an 18-inch bar. And the example is where you might need a little bit bigger bar, obviously if you've got a larger tree. Sometimes when you're clearing trails too, if you've got logs that are just bigger in diameter, it's a little easier to work with a longer bar. Also, as you get to a longer bar, the less you have to really bend over if you're cutting limbs. So that can be a good sort of middle of the road size if you do a lot of medium-sized tree felling, but also like trail clearing and then invasive control. And it's really not that heavy. But sometimes you get into larger trees and you really need a little bit more bar and a lot more power. You might find yourself more in like this Husky 562. So Larry's got a 24-inch bar on there. So essentially you can be cutting trees 30-inch diameter with not much issue, 30-inch and smaller. This saw like this has a lot more power than these other ones, and you can just keep running it all day, and occasionally you need to drop really big trees. Some examples of why we drop big trees, we have sometimes they die or there's a tree in the way, you need to salvage them and then use the material. Other times we're just doing timber stand improvement projects where we might have like really big trees that we consider call trees. So we're dropping large trees in the forest. But occasionally you come across really, really big trees, and that's where something like this might come in. So here Larry's got a Husky 3120 XP, and this thing is a freaking beast.
So we use this saw when we're getting into the biggest of the trees. It's got a ton of power, super long bar. When you're taking down 40+ inch trees, you need power and you need the proper bar length. And we actually do get this saw out pretty often, and everybody can run this thing. But with any of these tools, it's very important to listen to your body. If you feel fatigue setting in, take a break or call it for the day. You just can't run unlimited time, because our muscles are ultimately what's powering these tools, and when your muscles get fatigued, that can impact your safety out there. So listen to your body, don't overdo it.
Yeah, sometimes you're cutting really big trees, you might want to utilize that lumber. So Larry and Mike have Granberg Alaskan sawmills, and they've used large saws like this one for getting large live edge slab material out of those really big logs.
Yeah, you can make a ton of cool lumber that way.
Yeah. So when you're cutting all day with these saws, something that's really important to have on you is obviously a way to sharpen your chain. Larry's got some Husky combination sharpeners here that'll do the cutter and the raker at the same time. And if you really need to get into the teeth,
you can get something like this. This you can hook onto your car battery, ATV battery, or just a spare deep cycle. Runs these little bits here. It's got quite a bit of adjustment. You can set your angle, and it lets you be a little bit more precise if you need to do like a major reset if you damage a chain. These things are really nice and really quick too.
Another handy thing to have on you, as Larry mentioned the wedge earlier, is just a nice sledge. So the Keith's got this little dead blow hammer. You can easily fit this in his side pouch, and when you need to pound a wedge in, you've got a 1 pound, really easy way to swing and knock that wedge in. If you need to get into really big wedging, then you might need to get a longer handle, some kind of sledge like that.
So that wraps up the cutting phase. We're gonna jump into the spraying section here next. Hope you guys learned something there from some of these tools we're using, and we can help keep you guys a little bit safer out there and having fun as you're managing native habitat. If you're using any tools that we're missing, be sure to let us know in the comments below. If you found the video helpful, be sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're not already. If you need help with the project here in Ohio, jump on to nativelandscapesohio.com. Hit us up in the contact section there. We'll see you guys on another video soon.